Legends, welcome back to another episode of the Ruck Infringement Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joey, and this week we have a special guest joining us for a wonderful special interview. It's the one and only Mark Tookey. Tooks, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe. Yourself?
Mate, I am great. It is a pleasure to have you on. This is quite surreal for me. I watched a lot of your footy in the early 2000s, so yeah, it's quite a big deal. But for those that don't know you, mate, you just want to tell us a bit about you, who you played for, and the likes.
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm a Queensland boy. Grew up in kind of Logan area. Logan Brothers is a junior club of mine. Got lucky and played for the South Queensland Crushers when they came in. I think that was in '95. Then they got kicked out of the comp basically. So I went down to Parramatta Eels, 97, 98. And then, no, 98, 99. And then I went over to the Warriors, New Zealand Warriors 2000 till 2004. And then I had some success there, was pretty cool. And then I went over to the UK Super League and played over there for 2.5 years. Then retired at the end of 2006.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I remember a lot of your footy from the Warriors. I'm a Rooster boy myself, so I love 2002. I know not a fond memory for you, but but for me it was. But yeah, I loved watching your footy and being a forward myself. Great to see how you went on the field. But mate, let's start off with who was the funniest teammate that you played with?
Oh, I've had a couple of funny guys. Nathan Woods would be one of the characters I played with. He was always pranking somebody or is up to mischief somewhere. Another one that I would say would be funny would be Jason Deeth, the doctor. At the Warriors, he was a crack up as well. So there's a lot of funny characters in rugby league, mates, and they're all different and quirky in their own little ways. But yeah, it's there was a lot of funny blokes, and it was just a really good period of when I played. There was a lot of characters in the game.
Yeah, that's what you want, mate. A bit of banter as well amongst teammates. But who was the strangest teammate you played with? Someone who was just a weird cat.
Oh, geez, there's a lot of them as well. Mark McClendon was always he was always a strange one. Oh, yeah, I reckon he would be the strangest. Mark McClendon. You just didn't know what was going on in that brain of his, man. He was out there. And then I think he did a streak not long ago. He went around in his undies or something on the field, and
yeah, right.
I don't know what he was up to, but yeah, he did something stupid. But and it didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. No, I love that, mate. Mate, what was the toughest game that you played in?
Oh, you know what? I used to always play when we played the Bulldogs at Belmore. They were always very hard. That was when Big Barry, what was his name? Barry Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of guys were there. Also, when we played the Raiders down in Canberra, when we had to play against Ruben Wiki and all those boys as well. So they were a couple of hard ones. The Broncos were always tough during that period in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s. You know, they had small wingers like Wendell Saylor and Lottie Takiri running at you. So, then Webke and all those boys would be running. So, Petro Sivanasiva. So, probably, yeah, the Broncos would be the hardest side I played against, and then closely followed. Well, the toughest was the Bulldogs because they just bash you up. And we used to always have kids with them, especially when I was at Para. So, we love to hate each other.
That's it, mate. That's it. The bit of the the rivalry down there. But what was the favourite game of yours that you played in?
Obviously the O2 Grand Final was very high up there, but the game against Cronulla when we played that in the major semi final to go into the grand final. We played that down at Shark Park, and I think it wasn't Shark Park. Sorry, it was Optus Stadium or something like that. And we had I think there was 70,000 people in the stands or something like that. And I reckon about 55 of those 75,000 were Kiwis doing the haka in the stands. Our owner, Eric Watson, brought all the expat Kiwis free tickets to get to the game. So, yeah, we had a very strong support in that game. And, so that's one of my favourite games. It was for us to go into the grand final, and obviously the grand final was pretty special too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that, mate. Look, Give us the dirt. Which competition did you find better, the NRL or the Super League?
Oh, NRL 100%. There's no
Yeah.
no doubt about it. What I found different over in Super League was it was very two-tiered. So the top, let's say 5 or 6 teams, NRL quality, and like they were hard to beat. And then there was probably 5 or 6 teams that were never going to win a grand final in the million years, and we were always scrapping for relegation and stuff like that. So it's very two-tiered. I believe it's got a little bit better in the past few years, over the last kind of 10 years. But when I was there, you could not beat St. Helens, Bradford, Wigan, Warrington, Hull KR. They were probably the top sides. And then there was Perpignan or the Catalan, us, London, Castleford. We all just kind of struggled. Wakefield, Trinity, all those guys, Salford. So, we were all in that kind of scrapping for that last spot. So, I definitely loved my time in England, but the competition was just a little bit different.
Yeah. No, I have heard that, and I think it's definitely improved, as you said, over the past few years, which is great to see. Mate, did you have a footy nickname when you were playing?
Yeah, just Tooks. I've always been Tooks, Big Tooks. In England, it was "You Fat Bastard" or something like that. But yeah, but no, in general, I've always just been Tooks or Big Tooks. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And who was your footy idol?
Who was my footy idol? Well, I grew up. I was watching blokes like Ciro, Blocker, those kind of guys. Even Adam Ritson was on the scenes there a little bit. So just all the real big guys, to tell you the truth. The Brick, Big Glenn Lazarus, he was another guy that was at the top of his game back then. So if I was to say, yeah, it was probably Blocker or Glenn Lazarus, to be honest.
Yeah, some great choices there. Mate, if you could change one rule in the NRL, what would it be?
Oh, mate. I want to change 100 rules, but
If only.
yeah, the one thing that I really don't like is the way the games, the players are laying down now, and it's not the players' fault; it's the rules of the game's fault. So something around the contact with the head, I'd probably change. How I would change it, I don't know. It's just a bad look on the game. I've bagged soccer for I don't know how long about them taking dives and staying down when they get a clip on the eyebrow. So. But the players have got to stay down now to get themselves a penalty to help win the game, and also in case they have been concussed. If they wobble, they'll get a Cat 1 and they've got to go off the field. So I do understand why they're staying down. I just don't like it, and I'd like to try and change it. And I totally understand we're trying to protect the player from themselves because we're all bullfeds. And yeah, that would be the rule. I just don't like the look of it. How to change it, I don't know the answer.
Mate, bring back the good old days, eh? Bring back the biff. I loved it.
Oh, we probably can't go back to when I played, when we used to do head slams and stuff for free. But yeah, I do like the game, and I used to love the 6 again on the run and all that. The flow of the game's really good. We just need a couple of little tweaks. Again, it's more around the rules of the game that the creators of our game are doing. It's not the coaches or the players, it's just the way the rules are, and then the poor old referees are getting smashed, and it's just not fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, take us through what life was like after footy, and are you still involved in the game?
Life after footy. So I was working for the Canberra Raiders for a very long time, about 8 or 10 years. I was at South Logan Magpies as their feeder club, and I was the development officer and recruitment man around the Logan area. So I did that for a long time, and I dealt with blokes like Josh Papali, Milford, the two Edric Lee, Brenko Lee boys. So I had a lot to do with them through their junior period. Nowadays, I live down the Gold Coast, and I do disability support. So
Very nice.
Well, at the moment, I'm down in Sydney caddying for a vision impaired golfer. So I do that. I travel around Australia doing him. It's Jamie. My golfer's name's Jamie Hain. We're down here in Sydney at the moment. I run Big Took Sports, so I've got my own little ABN business, small business, and we run marathon events around kind of Gold Coast, Brisbane, Logan area. I do golf days. I've just dabbled in boxing, so I'm now doing a bit of promotion on, and again, I'm not trying to be a George Rose or any of those boys with no limits. I literally, I run an event called Square Up Boxing, and it's literally footy boys just having a go against each other, and
Yeah, nice.
it's for it's for men's mental health,
Yep.
and it's literally we raise money for a charity called Walk and Talk, and it's a men's group Walk and Talk group, and it's really honestly about raising the awareness of suicide and just men being too weak to speak. And yeah, I lost a brother to suicide, and I've lost a million mates to suicide, and I'm very strong about it. And if I can help someone, we do it. And it's just face your fears. I literally don't want people that are boxers. I literally just want mums, dads, brothers, sisters, kids, whatever. And yeah, so I've got an event coming up on the 25th of November, and yeah, I've got 14 fights, and they're all people that have never jumped in the ring before. So that's what I want.
Mate, first thing, we're actually sponsored by the Blokes Walk and Talk in Canberra. So
Oh,
awesome,
wow.
awesome, yeah, awesome that you mentioned that. We are one of the guys on our podcast, Craig, Mad Tigers man. Craig runs the Blokes Walk and Talk in Canberra.
Wow.
So they're one of the sponsors on our pod, and he's a regular on the show. So he'll Craig, if you're listening, Tukes is on it as well. That is great, mate.
Yeah.
It's really awesome to hear. And second thing, where are those fights being held? Can people come and watch them?
Yeah, absolutely. They're at the Croatian Club on the Gold Coast at
Oh,
Carrara.
great. Yep.
Yeah, and I've done one show there already, and this is our second one. And yeah, the guy that my contact up here, his name's Adam Flyer, and he runs the Oxenford Men's Walk and Talk group.
Yeah,
But
good.
yeah, I'm looking to expand with him and for him. And we need to get as many of these walk and talk groups as we can.
Yeah.
And you know, they're doing great things. And if we
Yeah.
can save one life, mate, they're worth it. You know what I mean? And but we're losing friends all the time, mate.
Yeah.
You know, because they feel like they can't speak. And this is a way to, you know, link yourself back up to a group and
Mm.
yeah, and get involved. And I'm also doing stuff with the Arthur Beetson Foundation.
Oh,
You
great.
might have seen that about around as well. And we're traveling out to the Aboriginal missions. But what it's about is taking the game to the Aboriginal missions as well. Obviously, their communities, but it's ex-players that retire, and then we just go back into the wilderness, and you kind of feel isolated.
Yeah.
And it just gives you that feeling of a group again. We've done it our whole life playing footy once we left school, and then once your career's over, it's just that isolation of wow, back to reality. And everyone just kind of waves you by, so you just feel in that isolation. Then they go through some marriage breakdowns and kids and stuff like that. So it's a real important message that we're trying to do with the Arthur Beetson Foundation as well to you know, bring everyone together. We're always here for each other, and you know, it's stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to do as much as I can in that space, to be honest with you, Joey.
That's wonderful, mate. Yeah, men's mental health, massive for our podcast as well. And just remember, there are places you can visit. You can visit Lifeline or anywhere else as well. I can put the number up in our description also. But let's jump into our next question.
Yeah.
Rugby league is growing and growing every year. Is there anywhere we could improve to make the game better?
Oh, my grassroots is always the key. I know we're always top heavy.
Yeah,
We're looking after even the Q Cup clubs and the New South Wales Cup clubs and that type of thing. I think we need to get some support, and the NRL are doing a really good job at it. But we
yeah.
really just need to make it a little bit easier for the junior clubs in rugby league.
Mm.
I know at Logan Brothers, there's 700 kids there.
Yeah,
They're
wow.
struggling to educate the coaches. Some of the mums and dads that are putting their hands up for president and those type of roles in clubs, they're doing 40 hours
Mm.
volunteer work at the clubs, and they're turning over kind of $250,000. There's no reason why. Hang on, are we there?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
still here. No, you're right.
Yeah, right, mate. Sorry. There's no reason why we can't kind of, get some expendable money there somehow
Mm.
to, subsidise these. We're losing volunteers in the junior land, like hand over fist. That would be one place or somewhere we need to really look at trying to just help stop the bleeding in these junior clubs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, mate. It's early prediction time. Which team outside the top eight will improve in 2024?
Outside the top eight. Well, you've got to think the West Tigers have got to be better.
Surely.
They've had too many lean years. I think the dark horses we might see sneak into the top 8 could be the Bulldogs, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I'm pretty good friends with Josh Curran and his family, and I played golf with him literally not long ago, and the day he agreed to terms, to be honest, and he was saying that they're turning over a lot of players, trying to get rid of a bit of dead wood, and and they're just trying to refresh and rebrand. So I know they've been trying to do that for a little while now, but I really think Cameron Ciraldo can really do a good job there, and he's obviously found his feet now, and now it's kind of time to have a crack. Other than that, I don't see too much more movement, to be honest with you. They're all kind of cemented up there. There's a lot of really good infrastructures going on in those good clubs, and the Penriths obviously, and the Broncos, and those guys are Roosters. They're kind of there every year.
Yeah, mate. Roosters year of the Chook 2024. Just sense it now.
Roosters Warriors grand final, mate. I'm happy.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
Rematch.
Relive 2002, and hopefully we get the win again. But the Dogs are mine, mate. The Dogs also. I've got the Dogs coming into the top 8. On the pod earlier this year, I had the Dogs finishing 4th, which was a bit of a wrong prediction. I was only wrong by about 10 positions. But look, I think they've recruited really well, as you said, and under Ciraldo, it's time to go for them. So I think they might, scrape into the 8. But mate, that's all we got time for tonight. I just want to thank you for jumping on and giving us your time. Don't forget, you can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever else you go to. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, X, LinkedIn if you're on it. Get around all of it, everybody. Don't forget to like, follow, rate, subscribe, send us a comment. We always love to hear it. But thank you so much for your time, Mark, and until next time.
No problem, mate. Keep in touch.